Well, hey everyone, welcome back. We're finally getting back to this Firebird. We had a bunch of other stuff we had to do. The kids' cars needed some love. We had a couple of big road trips, and we were getting cars ready for those, and so we needed the garage space to do that. And I knew once we got this thing in here and started working on it, it was pretty much going to tie up this garage for a while. So I needed to make sure I had all those other things knocked out. And now we're getting into winter, and so we've got some spare time, hopefully, and we're going to get working on this Firebird. Today, what we're going to focus on is primarily disassembly and getting down to where we can get the core support removed. So let's go take a look. Thought maybe we'd do a refresher of what we got going on here. So if you weren't familiar with it before, when I got this car, it had some damage to the front end. The guy that owned it before had tapped, in his words, tapped somebody's rear bumper and broke the headlight and the fender. These are the front ends of these things. A lot of the body panels on these 4th gen cars are plastic. So the bumper was broken, the bumper cover, and the fender. But it was still kind of like hidden in there. So it wasn't until I got it home and actually took it apart. I had another car. I had some other replacement panels to use. And as I took these panels off, I realized the extent of the damage. And I tried to get this and hook this up to like a tree and see if I could ratchet, like use it come along and try to pull that out. And it's so mangled in here. It was not coming out any better. It made it worse, actually. So what I'm going to do, we're going to take this rail off. We got to cut out all these spot welds. I won't bore you with all that. If you want, there's actually a video on how I did that on the donor car. And we're going to do that here. We're going to cut all these spot welds out and take this whole panel off. We're going to do the same thing on this entire core support as what we did on the donor Firebird. And we've got that already taken off and ready to go. So we're going to have to take this whole thing. My original thought was cut this and weld the new one in its place. But actually it was not that hard to take the whole core support off, and then everything is even. So as long as I have it lined up, what I have to do then is figure out, because I'm sure, this is the 90s and tolerances were better than they were in the 70s, but I don't know that the tolerances were all that good. So I think there's probably little nuanced differences. So I want to make sure that I've got it matched up with what this car is, not what the other car was. So what I've got to do though is disassemble all of this stuff that's on here. So I got to get the whole the washer bottle out, the air box out, radiators, plural, there are 2, and probably the brake system here, get all the wiring tucked back, remove the power steering reservoir, because what I'm going to do is I need to cut this all the way back to here. So this panel here is just sort of spot welded, tack welded, whatever, onto the rest of the body. And it comes along the side here, and then it also wraps around these like frame horns here. And same on this side. Obviously this side's the one that's all messed up. And then so I'm going to have to cut this all the way back to here. And this whole thing will come off, and then I'm going to cut the inside of this fender rail here down here and piece in a piece I cut out of the other car. So this inside panel, the outside panel, and this whole core support will be from the donor car, and then put this all back on. So I want to make sure I keep track of everything. I'm notorious for having a few nuts and bolts left over, so I'm going to try to not do that here. Keep everything up and label it the best I can, at least it makes sense to me. For now, we just got to get it disassembled. So that's going to be the focus today, and just getting down to where that core support is ready to come off. We won't get that off today. That's like a billion spot welds, and when I took the other one off the other car, it took me like a week of a couple hours a day drilling spot welds. So it's going to be a minute. If you want to learn how to remove spot welds, there's another video. It'll be up at the top here linked. You can go watch that one. So yeah, we'll get to work. We're going to start by getting this airbox off. We can start working our way down. So take this off, shroud off, radiators off, hood latch, and the water bottle, the washer fluid bottle, and then the battery tray. Let's see, the coolant fill will go with the radiators. Power steering reservoir's got to come out. Air conditioning pump's got to come disconnected, and then brakes, like the ABS unit, which is kind of a pain because these brake lines never want to come off. And then see if we can pull the whole wiring harness through and tuck it up. We're going to take pictures as we go because I never remember where anything goes, and bag up any hardware and cross our fingers and say a little prayer and hope when we're all done we get this thing back together right. So there's a bolt in here I got out, and now I'm going to take these clamps off. Where'd my marker go? There it is. What do you got? I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached to my shoulders. So writing on plastic bags is more difficult than you might think. Alright, so we gotta pull these pins out to get the windshield washer bottle out or whatever, tank off. Bolts in this bracket here somewheres. Yep. Hood latch. Been sitting outside for 3 or 4 months now. I'm waiting for some creepy crawler to come out of here. So far nothing. Alright, we gotta drain the radiator. Spill coolant all over the place. Nice low profile bucket to catch all that would be nice, but my low profile bucket's full of oil. I really don't want to mix the two. So a makeshift bucket. That'll do. So somewhere down here, a drain plug. That's the cat, give some airflow in there. So up under here is a drain plug. That plug there. It screws in the radiator, and they're just hand tight. So you can just unscrew that and let it drain. So once we get this drained out, then we'll disconnect all the hoses. We got this front removed. We gotta get the radiators out. Starting to get the hoses disconnected. I missed my bucket by a lot, so there's a lot of stuff all over the floor. The front radiator is actually for the AC unit. So It's charged. It needs to be decharged, cleaned out, emptied. That should be done by a professional. The stuff in there is bad for the environment. It's just my public service announcement that I'm required to say, don't release the refrigerant into the air. It's bad for all of the whales and the polar bears and, you know, those things. The polar ice caps will all melt right now if you release that into the air. So don't. Get a professional to do it. Yeah, that. Alright, so it got emptied. You know, I had it done the right way, but when you know, the camera died. And, you know, I lost the receipt for the work. So, oh well. But it's empty now. The right way, of course. Get the tubing taken off so we don't bend it. We want to make sure we preserve that, because we will want to fill it back up. Now, I think this top radiator should just pull out. Interesting. Alright, this upper hose is removed. Looks like all I'm connected still is the, looks like a transmission cooling line. And actually it might be power steering cooling. I don't know. Cooling line of some kind. 11. How about 12? Where 12? Hibbity 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 12. No. That's not what we're going. Okay. Do I hear 13? Sort of. Okay. The wiring plugs for the fans. I think that's the only thing I have still connected. Nope. Drained. Should pull mostly out. And we've got fan connectors here. There's a little clip is recessed into the fan, so you use like a little pick or something. Pry it open. There we go. Whoop. Missed a hose. Oopsie. Okay. Let's see, I think we're clear. I'm gonna get this wiring disconnected, pulled out of the way, and we can start drilling. Oh no, power steering, forgot about that. And this positive terminal. Almost there. Some of these I'm just going to put the bolt right back in its hole. Obviously I'm not going to reuse this piece, but that way I don't lose the bolts and I know where they go on the other one. I can just reference this one. This harness comes on the front. It's just sort of clipped in. Pop those clips out. I haven't mentioned this before, but I think I have like 100 times. And these things are awesome. Alright, I'm going to try not to spill any of that. Okay, so that I can just peel out of the way. Alright, we got the front hardware removed. Got the washer fluid, reservoir, and all the wiring pulled back through. I can't get the wiring all the way back though, because there's ABS braking it's in the way. And And actually that's got to come off anyway, because again, this is the piece I'm going to take off, and there's welds on this side that I have to drill out, and I can't get to it because it's in the way. So I'm going to have to remove that and remove the brake lines. I had to wait and order some. I didn't have the right wrenches, so I ordered some wrenches. Those came in today, so we're day 2. I didn't really get it done yesterday like I hoped. So we're going to see if we can break these loose. They've been soaking all night. These have a tendency to be really difficult to get loose. I've got these 2 broken loose already, at least sort of. They were loose by wrench, but they're not loose enough by finger yet. But they're dripping brake fluid because, like an idiot, I didn't drain the brake reservoir. Put a pan under here and let catch it, and we'll put new brake fluid in later. And so I'm gonna see if I can get the rest of these brake lines disconnected. You can use a regular wrench, but these were rounding off, and I was trying to get them loose. So these are these flare nut wrenches, and they're kind of cool because they got these little. It's kind of hard to see it in here, but where the corners are cut out, so the pressure gets put on the flat side, not on the corners of these. And it's supposed to help keep them from rounding them off. And sure enough, it worked a lot better. Get the right tool for the right job, makes things go a lot faster. These were $12 for a set, for a metric set on Amazon. I'll throw a link down there for the ones I bought. I'm sure they're not the greatest tools. They're SATA, S-A-T-A tool brand. I know nothing about them. They might be total garbage, but they worked, so that's all I care about, right? But I do enough for this kind of stuff with brakes anymore that I thought, not a bad idea to have a set, maybe. They do make a ratcheting set, which for like this one right here where I don't have any room would be really nice. But they were like $100 or $70 or something, and I didn't feel like spending that kind of money. So one thing about these wrenches is they're not very long, so there's not a lot of leverage. Two problems that can happen: you can round these nuts off, which is a problem, or if it can bind up on the thread, or it can bind up on the tubing. And so what happens is you got to watch, if you pull those too fast, you end up twisting that tubing off. So it unscrews from here, but it's stuck on the tube. So I want to keep an eye on that. Here, make sure we're not. Nope, there we go. Okay, well, that one broke loose nicely. This one has been a bugger. That one kind of rounded off on me. Anybody has a source for real heavy duty rubber work gloves, shoot me a link, would you? Because these are terrible. Son of a gun. Alright, well, let's hit it again. We'll soak it for a little while longer. Alright, a little heat. Take care of that last one. If you do want to, I didn't get this on camera, but if you do want to heat this up, this little thing here is plastic, so put something down. Actually, it still did get a little bit, but I put a piece of metal down here as a shield, so it protects that plastic from being melted by a hot torch. Alright, we're gonna get this air pump is just sort of hanging here loose. I don't know why. Looks like maybe it broke. I don't know. The bolts, I don't know if you can see that, it bolts down in here. Kind of like that. They were just already dangling here and zip tied to the ABS system here. And then zip tied clamp on here, which probably isn't very good from a seal. Again, it wasn't, I just fell off. I just pulled it and it popped it up. So, I don't know, a lot of guys delete these. I think there's actually a recall on these. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but for now I'm just going to pull it and get it out of the way, and we'll deal with that later. It's missing the catalytic converters, so it's got some other emissions issues, and I may just delete all this stuff, delete all the smog stuff, and I'm going to mess with the tune anyway, so tune it out, but we'll see. Let's see, for now, let's just get this plug out, and that plug out, maybe. There it goes. Oh. Alright, I think, if I remember right, you take this bolt off, and this thing just kind of like comes out. It like sits into a groove, like a tab goes into a slot, and then it goes down and bolts down. I don't think there's a bolt on the other side. Yeah. Let's get this out here. Okay. I think I have to take this bracket off as well. Real careful with these brake lines. I don't want to break them, kink them, or anything like that. I just pull this off to the side. Drill those out. Drill these out. Really, but this is crimped pretty bad. So mostly this is just to support the body panels. It doesn't really provide a whole lot of structural support, as you can see. You don't have to hit something very hard to mush it up. It'll just be a cosmetic thing if I don't get it lined up just right. Then the body panels will get fitment issues. But there's some flexibility in that. We can move panels to fit them to make up for a little bit of tolerance issues, but not much. All right, I think we're as clear as we can get. These are going to be a challenge getting in here to drill those out without having much access this side. We'll have to get creative there a little bit. So we're going to cut spot welds all the way up around here, and all the way around, all up here, all around the horn here, and then on either side we'll have to cut these off as well. So have to cut those welds here. There's some on the side and some on the bottom, and these little bumper brackets come off, and then I'll end up and put those right back on. But this is going to slide off this way, and these are in the way. And let's see. So this will be new. The bottom radiator tray will be new, and same with over here. Now over here it gets interesting. On the other car I cut this whole thing off as well, so I have this whole piece, so this exact like U on both sides. But there's a bracket here for the AC tank, and it's got a Torx bit that's down around the back side of the frame, way down here. Also, once even this is out, there's not a lot of room with the alternator here to get in here. And I could take the alternator out, and I may do that, just pop the alternator out. And then I think even with a little bit of an angle, to get this belt off, get the alternator out, and then I can get in there with a drill and drill this way. But also, this is actually okay. And these pieces, it's hard to see it on here, but they actually weld here, and then on the bottom side of it under here. So I could try to cut just this section out and leave the battery tray and that lip there, and then just put this back in and weld that back on and not have to mess with that. That might be easier. I don't know. I'm actually going to probably try that. And if I can't, then I can always go back and cut that off. But I think I can get that off. All right, we're going to call it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll get to the spot weld cutting here in the next couple days. Like I said, if you want to watch that, there's another video on that stuff. We'll get that removed. And coming up here real soon, I hope, we're going to start piecing this back together. Hope you enjoyed all this. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And hope to see you real soon. You are a fighter, aren't you? Man.